Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam and I'm the creator behind Baby Ducks Creations. So in today's video, I have primarily a market vlog and recap to go over with you guys. So this was for a market that was at a restaurant. It was actually on Free Slurpee Day, 7-Eleven. And it was at Bubba's 33 restaurant in Chesapeake, Virginia. So ultimately, this market did go very well. I didn't make a fortune or anything like that, but it was a bonus that there was no booth fee. So anything that I did make was profit, which is awesome. So this was actually a market that I signed up for at the last minute. So it was maybe like a week or two prior is when I actually signed up for it. And so I didn't really plan to really prep hard for it at all. The only things that I prepped were the dress up mushrooms that I showed you in my previous video for in my last market recap. And then these slushies that I just made. Sorry about that. My son came in the room, and I don't really want him to be all over YouTube or anything. Well, not that my videos would be all over YouTube, but you know what I mean. So the only things that I really prepped were those, were a couple of the dress up mushrooms. The pattern there was from Crochet. And then because the market was on 7-Eleven, and for those of you who have 7-Elevens nearby, know that on July 11th every year they have Free Slurpee Day. So I decided to just kind of make my own makeshift Slurpee, or I called them slushies. I think I may have showed a prototype in the last video too, but these were some of the final ones that I did. So this is a cherry one, and then this was a Coke Slurpee or slushie. And I tried, I was trying to not make it look exactly like a Slurpee, but I still wanted an S on there so people understood what they were. I sold 2 of them. And I prepped 12. I sold those for $5 each. I got lots of comments on them, but not everybody bought one. Yeah, I did remember to do a few more vlog clips, so I will go ahead and put those here, and then we'll do more of a recap afterwards. Happy market day. So I'm just gonna say a few things super quickly because we are about 45 minutes in. We have made 3 sales, and at least 2 or 3 people have taken my card and chatted and everything. It is very, very hot and muggy. And I think we only have about 3 hours left. It's a very short market, but so far very good. We actually got parking right where our booth was, so that was awesome too. And yeah, we have a little fan here, and we are getting ready to eat lunch. Alright, so a little update. It is 1:15 right now, and so far we have made a total of 5 sales, and the total amount that we made so far is $62. So not too bad for it being a free vendor booth fee. I'm doing my wet legs. You're trying to get them to tan? Yeah, it doesn't work very well. Okay, so it is about halfway through the market, so let's see what the booth is looking like. So we've sold a couple of the chubby frogs. That is actually the last one that I have now. Let's see. The baby ducks here have been a hit today. Let's see. I sold one of my loaf cats. Let me fix these. None of the rubber ducks have sold so far. Lots of attention on my little weighted buddies, especially with this Dalmatian. The cutest little girl just kind of ran up and started to grab this and the pink rubber duck and tried to walk off before her mom said, no, you got to put it back. But it was adorable the way she did it. I sold a couple of little chickens. Who's back there? Who's back there? Hiding. And then I have sold quite a few of these little Slurpees. Obviously, I'll go over everything in the recap, but everybody has loved my little slushy pattern that I just did. Sold a couple of keychains. Let me go ahead and fix some of this. This stuff down here is just on clearance, whether it be old or, you know, not really stuffed as well anymore. I think this cow, I love this cow, but the eyes are getting loose, so I didn't want to sell it at full price anymore. But sold a few axolotls. And then I sold a couple of these swinging buddies I have. So let's see how the rest of the day goes. Guys, I finally sold my Anchor the Octo. And then I also sold one of my hanging plants, and I sold that one to one of the vendor organizers. I guess her and her partner are one of the they're the marketing people here at the restaurant, and so she's kind of asking me about the experience and everything like that. And I before I knew who she was, I actually told her that whoever organized it and set up the way the booths are set up and everything needs a raise, because they literally put the bounce house for the kids at the end of the line where all the vendors are, so you have to walk through all the vendors in order to get to the bounce house. So that's kind of genius. So you get everybody to stop and look at the vendors before your kids go to the bounce house. So I thought that was pretty good. And we are actually right by the bounce house too. So very nice. Well, we are just about packed up because it's been off and on pouring here now. Thankfully, I don't think that anything was ruined or anything like that. We got it all to the center of the tent and, started packing up relatively quickly and stuff. And even while we packed everything else, display-wise up, we had the plushies in the car safe and sound. So that's what matters. But my husband is on his way with the truck to get more of this bigger stuff like the table and everything, because the temporary car I have, I did not want to try to Tetris that while it was pouring. So yeah, we're just waiting on him now. Okay, so as you can see, it ended with rain, but it still ended up being a good market, because I think the total amount of time we were supposed to be there was only 4 hours. The market was from 12 to 4, and I think the rain started around 2 o'clock, 2:30ish or so, and we were pretty much packing up and getting ready to leave by between 3 and 3:30. So we did not pack up and rush out of there, because it was just me and my coworker Nicole. And even though we were parked literally right by where our booth was, which was also a very good bonus, I have a loaner car right now. My bigger car is currently getting fixed and everything, so I don't have as much space. So everything that I did pack in there today, or that day, was very much Tetrised in. And I looked at her and I'm like, I'm not about to do that while it is pouring outside. So we will just fit what we can in there. And the primary big stuff, where I really don't care if it gets continuously gets wet, because it can just dry out, was the canopy, the table and the shelves. So those things, I called my husband to come with his truck to just put it in his truck bed temporarily, and everything else I was able to put in the car that I had. So that was kind of something that sucked about it at the end, but I really can't say that it was a bad day, because within the like 2.5 hours that we were there, we made a total of $166. And I will say that 50 of those dollars came from me finally selling my Anchor the Octo, which I know I already put those clips of that in there, and I was so freaking excited, you guys. Now, my original price on my Anchor for the last like year or so has been $75. However, it was one of the bigger things that I did, like the very first big thing that I did, and the first time I really had to buy like good, like, well, I don't really know, like good, but just sinker eyes, like big size sinker eyes, and not just like or I don't really, ADHD moment, I don't really know the difference. What is the difference between safety eyes and sinker eyes? I don't really know. To me, it's kind of like all in the same. There's all black, or there's normal eyes with color that you put. Like, I don't understand. But anyways, I don't know if it's just whatever tool I had to put the eyes in plushies at the time, if just that wasn't as good, so it didn't stay, or it was the eyes themselves or whatnot. But one of the Anchor the Octo's eyes started, I could feel it like coming apart from the backside. It was a lot looser than it was. It wasn't completely out, but I could tell, like, okay, if a kid was playing with it and it got some force behind it, the eye would pop out. I knew it would happen, like, at some point. Um, so I reduced the price from 75 to 50, and I had even put on the tag it was because there was a loose eye. And I had explained to the nice young lady who bought it that the reason for the price is, one, it still took a lot to make, so I still want to be paid for that. However, it's lower than my initial pricing because I know at some point that eye is probably going to be popped out, and I don't want to sell it full price knowing that. So yeah, I believe she was actually another vendor and she got it for her mom, so that was very nice to hear too. So okay, it wasn't going to another kid where like there's a risk of the eye popping out and someone getting hurt or whatever. So the fact that it's going to somebody's mom who would love it and everything, and she was super excited to get it. And thankfully with Nicole, she kind of knew a little bit of background about that octopus and everything, so she immediately got up, and as I was like getting ready to check her out and everything, she immediately got up with her camera and started taking a picture of me with it one last time and stuff. And yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was a great feeling. Among some of the other things that sold that day, the baby ducks were very popular. I actually sold half of those. So or actually just over half of those. I only have 3 left, and I had 7. And then I sold another loaf cat, so I only have 2 more loaf cats, so that's definitely something I have to prep for the fall and winter markets that I have. I only have 2 loaf cats, which is totally crazy considering how many I started at like in like February, March when I started making them. I actually sold 2 little chickens. Now at one of my markets in April, I actually sold quite a few chickens that day to where I like just about sold out. I actually had to make some at the market, and even those ones sold. So I prepped like crazy for like the last 2 markets that I had, thinking that they would still sell. And I think someone at the market where they just about sold out at told me that I should price those higher. I originally had them at $4, and the pattern that I use is the Mabel chicken pattern. I think, is that by Oak and Marlowe? I'd have to double check. But anyways, that Mabel, the chicken pattern that I use, was very popular for one of my spring markets. And after somebody told me like, hey, you should price these more because these are like really popular. So I went from $4 to $6 just to kind of test out to see how that would go. And the next 2 markets, when I had so many prepped, barely any sold. I think maybe 1 out of 2 markets sold. And today, thankfully, I at least got 2 sold as well. So I still have plenty prepped. I think I have maybe like 12 or 13 chickens now, and I originally had like 15 or something around there. So I'll definitely prep more for the fall and everything, but I sold the two at this market because I made the price go back down to $4 because obviously the $6 wasn't really making anybody catch the eye of them. So I figured I would just make it back to 4. Sometimes I guess you kind of have to, make those kind of calls, and sometimes it's okay to try something new, but ultimately I think you should just go with whatever works, especially because everybody's area is different. So you never really know. One of the other things I was excited about selling was one of my hanging plants sold. Now, I made 2 of those for my last market, the Manifestation Festival at Finch Brewery. And I made one that was supposed to be like a lilac, like hanging plant, and then just a vine one. And the vine one sold. Now, I had those priced at $14. Again, just because I'm not like super crazy about crocheting plants like that, but I thought that it was cool to have that kind of, something different other than just plushies. And I know some people like myself who don't have a green thumb would probably like it. And it was actually one of the organizers. I guess it's her and her work partner, who is in charge of like marketing for the restaurant. They're the ones who put the market on, and she actually bought it at the end. So that I sold for $14. So I was happy to see one of those go. Now, I would say that the overall experience at this market, even though it wasn't for the full 4 hours, just the half of the time that we were supposed to be there, it was a very good experience. Setting up was very simple and easy. We had plenty of space and stuff. We were able, like I said before, we were able to park like right next to our booth because of where we were located at, as well as just, I think, just luck of the parking space. I actually told the organizer when she came to buy the hanging plant, before I knew who she was, I could tell that she worked for the business, but I didn't know who exactly she was. I actually told her that whoever like design like where everybody should be and like the setup and everything, it's like needs a raise or something, because the way that they had it set up was everybody was just in one long line in front of one of the entrances to the restaurant, like lined up across from each other on one side, and at the end of one side is where the bounce house was. And that's one of the things that they advertise for, is like, oh, like kid friendly, we have a bounce house. And I mean, it's kind of ingenious thinking of, people are like waiting to get their seat inside or whatever. They can go check out the vendors. You have to walk down all the vendors so you see everything. If you see something, you stop and look or talk or whatever. And then at the very end, you can go to the bounce house. And then when you're ready, you walk back and stuff. So I'm like, that's kind of ingenious. And we were really lucky because we were right next to the bounce house too. And with me being a crochet artist who primarily does plushies, that's primarily aimed towards kids. So there's kind of guarantee to have lots of kids right there by my booth. So I applauded them and stuff, and I'm like, that's definitely like good idea. And she had actually told us that there were supposed to be more vendors at this event too, that again, like maybe like just under half of them like didn't show up, which it kind of looked like it. There's definitely like some gaps in between some people, but I mean, ultimately, I mean, I did good. So I can't really complain. And ultimately, she had asked me like what our opinion and like experience was and stuff, because we also were able to get food. It was very easy. They came and checked on us a couple of times just to make sure like we were all good. If we needed anything, they had let us know that if we wanted food or needed some like water or ice or something for our water jugs or anything, to just go inside up to the bar and to let the bartender know that, to go order for us outside. And it was easy peasy. The food was great. Me and Nicole shared a like appetizer like sampler thing, and it was delicious. And on top of that, I had actually forgotten my water jug, so they like with no issue at all had no problem just giving me a cup and refilled my ice as I needed it and stuff. We rented water, but it wasn't really cold, and it was muggy that day. It was so that's pretty much all I have for you guys. And this market is going to be the last one until the fall. So the next market I have is actually the very end of September. So that gives me roughly like maybe like 2.5 months or so to really like market prep hard for both fall and winter. So needless to say, I best get cracking. I already have a pretty good like list of ideas. I know, I've gotten some advice, some other crocheters online. And one of the things that I was told was don't make your entire inventory like holiday theme. Maybe make like 20-30% of it more the holiday, and then make everything else like your normal stuff. So that's kind of what I'm trying to make sure like I don't overdo it with the holiday stuff, and trying to like balance that out and figure out, okay, realistically, what can I do? That's what I'm doing right now. From here on out until the end of September, it's probably going to be more so market prep videos, and like along with that, like if whatever new patterns I do, I'll probably do like a little review of that pattern as I market prep and show you guys. And then, I mean, I don't know if you guys have any other ideas, like if you want me to show you how to do something, if I know how to do it, I can definitely try to show you guys. Any sort of like questions or like how I handle things or whatnot, I can explain the best that I can. I actually do have a couple of custom orders from some people that I know, that I need to finish. Or actually, I did just finish one today. Let me show you. This pattern is one of these Sploot patterns by Snuggle Crochet on Etsy, and it is a Sploot lion. Look at that. Now, the only thing that I guess like I think it's me and like how I've done it so far, because I think I've only done one other Sploot pattern by her. Is it was like a typical like horse pattern, and I didn't really like how I did it with the neck. Like you do it flat and then you sew the head on. The way, like, I guess like it just kind of felt awkward to me, at least. And I did the same, I still followed it and did the same thing here, but I feel like it's just something that I probably have to get used to the more that I do it. And with that, just kind of like the head placement, I like how it's floppy. Like that's probably most of the times when I make something like this, I call it like a floppy lion, a floppy elephant, like something like that. Other than that, I loved it. I think I finished it in technically 3 days, but that's with me also working full time and being full time mom as well. If that gives you any kind of like inkling, like full time mom and full time worker, I was able to do this in the evenings. So I enjoy doing it, and it was actually a lot simpler than I thought to do the loop stitch. Initially, I thought I didn't read through the pattern at first. um At first, I thought that I would have to do just one whole head of just the tan and then do like the loop stitches like into the head. But no, it's actually like you color change, and you can kind of see here, it's literally like, I don't know, like I don't even know if I'm explaining this right, but it's like you can kind of see like a flat part right there in between some of the loops. Like you literally color change from the tan to this is, I think, the color Rust in Parfait Plush, and that's what I used to for all the yarn I used was Parfait Plush. This was just like the typical like tan. This is the Rust Brown and regular white. What was I saying before? ADHD, sorry. I hate that rhymed. Yeah, so essentially I went from the tan color and I color changed to the rust, and it's an actual like single crochet loop stitch. Didn't even know that was a thing. First time me doing it, and it was very, very easy. Yeah, but this is for one of my coworkers actually. She has a little boy that's like a year or two younger than my son, and she had asked me if I would make a lion, and then I'm going to be doing a sea turtle for her too as a baby gift to one of her friends. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on that, and I'll probably show that in my next video just to show what I've been making on top of doing market prep. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed or this was somewhat entertaining. If you're crocheting while you're watching this, tell me what you were crocheting down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!